the acceptance of the MS4 annual and interim reports. Do I have a proposer?
I'd like to make a proposal, propose a resolution for Peter to sign the MS4 permits.
I second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd then like to move on to community solar. We've had a presentation on that, and the amount of money involved in this is very small. I think $400 or approximately $400. But $400 is $400, and it is also the first step in a process which should get us a few thousand, which is when we expand from doing it at the providing solar power to the smaller places in town, to providing them, to getting it at the major places in town. Minor places are, did anybody look at this? They're not very significant places. Next time there are places like the townhouse, highway, and areas of that kind. Could somebody please make a motion to allow me to sign the community distributed generation disclosure form and any other forms that are necessary to make this happen?
I motion to allow the supervisor to sign the community distribution general disclosure form or any other forms required to make this community solar happen. Yeah.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
As people are probably aware, I've pended the leaf blower law discussion and the setting of a public hearing until, quite honestly, we've met with a bunch of landscapers, and it's clear there is a bunch of landscapers who would like to be heard on this, and I believe they deserve to be heard before we move forward. Next, there is an agreement with the county which will replace the rate. It's a multi-million-dollar radio replacement project, but it is not millions in our town. This is throughout the county. The county is replacing all of its radios on EMS, public safety, and hospitals in the county. And to get our small piece of that, we have a 54-page document, which I would like the permission of the board to agree to. I'm not quite sure why I am agreeing to it, because LVAC is kind of a separate institution, but anyway.
But it's being installed on town property, correct?
Yes.
Is this part of what goes on the Cross River cell tower?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's probably why.
Right.
Would you like to make the proposal, Tony? I think you understand more about this than the rest of us.
Sure. I propose that the supervisor, that I authorize the supervisor to sign the resolution regarding the LVAC radio agreement with the county, and authorize the supervisor to sign it.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'd now like to, I think the next item, if I can find the agenda, is a discussion regarding outdoor dining legislation and setting a public hearing on it. I would like to move ahead as suggested by Anthony, which is that we approve the change in the law and set a public hearing on it. And at the same time, to be nice, the board agrees with me with the emergency declaration in case we need it. Do I have a second on setting the public hearing?
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next thing, which is not on, yeah,
You want to set the date and time for that
Oh.
public hearing?
2 weeks from today, which is June 6th,
June 8th.
June 8th. Thank you, whoever knew the dates.
Sounded like Janet.
Janet.
Janet,
Yes, it says so on my screen if I'd looked.
right.
Janet, I don't have a picture of you.
No, not tonight. Not feeling it.
All right. The next item is I want to apply. As many of you as you may all know, I have been working now for 2 years at a guess on trying to move ahead on a community septic at south shore of Lake Walkabout. It looks as though I've actually got to stage 1 of a long process. And stage 1 is that we get to submit an application for the engineering study necessary to do that. At the same time, they have, as they've done that document, they have also given us given us an opportunity to apply for work at Lake Kitchewan on engineering work on possible community septics or sewers. The same thing at Lake Truesdale, where we can do engineering in order to put in a community septic or a sewer. I think there is sufficient money for Lake Walkabout to possibly put in for 2 projects. I've got to find out if that's allowed. But as far as I could gather in a conversation with DEP, it is allowed for me to put in as many things as I like, as long as I get inside the total amount of money. So what I'm asking for is your approval to me moving forward on completing this application. And basically, I believe that all 3 lakes at some stage will need some kind of sewering if we move on with the New York City problem, which is maintaining their water supply, the quality of their water supply. I've had extensive conversations with Tom Snow, who's the Deputy Commissioner of DEC in Albany, and pointed out that what we're doing at the moment is finding a lot of small projects to whistle away the money, when I believe strongly that if they would put some money into a few sewer or community septic projects, they would prevent a lot more phosphorus from entering the New York City water system. In other words, improve the New York City water system substantially. And in addition, I believe that the East of Hudson Watershed Corporation will have substantial money left over at the end of this set of projects. And I am pushing Tom Snow to agree that some of that this money left over could be used not on the engineering, but on the actual installation of sewer and community septic projects. He's somewhat iffy. I will not claim I've got his agreement to the second, but I've been pushing on it. Does anybody disagree with, oh, I guess I've got to sign something, so somebody else had probably better propose this.
I propose the supervisor to sign the community septic initiative
Yeah.
for the
NEIWPCC proposal.
Wait, is this on the agenda?
No,
Oh,
Guys,
okay.
it's not.
but I've sent it to people,
Oh, I hear you. I just,
and
very specific. So can you say it again, what you would need the resolution for?
I need the resolution to move ahead with the application for this grant.
Application, right, but you used a bunch of letters and numbers.
Oh, the grant, this whole thing is being, New York City has delegated the management to the, I wish I knew what the letters stood for, but the New England something, oh, the New England Inland Waterway PCC, I think.
Inland Waterways. Okay, got it. NEIWPCC.
Yes, and
Got it.
they don't spell out their name anywhere, they just use the initials.
Got it. Okay.
So it was a question of me using my, like doing a crossword puzzle. What do you think those could stand for?
Okay. Tony, did you want to make the motion?
Yeah, so I motion to allow the supervisor to submit the application for the New England Inland Waterway PCC project.
Thank you. I'm kind of pleased about that. I've been working on this for a very long time.
I'll second.
And second, thank you.
Yeah, you're
And the time limit for me making this, getting this next step moving is fairly limited because I was supposed to have this document by February 1st from the city, and I only got it on May 21st. That's not entirely my fault, seeing as I've been bugging New York City the whole way through. Maybe I bugged them too much, and that's why they were so slow. I'd like to move on to approval of claims. Leo wrote a very excellent summary of them. Does anybody wish, oh, I'll propose that we approve the claims report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Peter, one thing, the approval of minutes, we skipped over that.
I did.
Yes.
Janet, I'm sorry. I'd like to approve Janet's minutes for the May 11th, 2020 town board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Janet, about missing that. I'd like to move on to polling of the board. Jane.
I don't have the details, Peter, of the Parks and Rec announcement about the movie in front of me. Do you have those
Oh,
details?
yes, I do.
Okay, so,
Would you like me to? I'll give them when it comes to me, if you like.
yeah,
can
that sounds good. And I just had one other thing. Oh, the cards for Lois. So Parks and Rec, Lois, I can't remember her last name, turned 101.
Reynolds.
She's a lifelong Lewisboro resident, and this is her first birthday in quarantine. So Parks and Rec collected cards for her, and they got 104. So the goal was 101. So we just wanted to thank the residents of Lewisboro for being in on Lois's birthday, and we appreciate it and she appreciates it. And I hope everyone had a nice Memorial Day weekend. The service yesterday was certainly very meaningful, and that's it.
Okay. Anything else? Jen?
I don't think I have anything new, but I also wanted to thank Tony and our Veterans Advisory Committee again for the service yesterday. I'm glad that we were able to at least gather in a small way to honor our veterans for their service. It was a very moving ceremony, as Jane had mentioned, and you know, it was really nice to be able to participate in that and to kind of have some continuity for some of our most beloved events in town. So hopefully we'll be able to continue to gather in small ways in the future.
Thank you.
And I'll also add, it was a great ceremony. I want to thank John Lemke for coming up with the idea and pulling it together, and for Frank Kelly to participate and give his message regarding what the day is about. And we did have Henry Wolf record it, so it will be on LCTV, and then we'll upload it to YouTube as well. We had some technical glitches on the Zoom side, so we didn't have the complete login information, so we had not as many people show up because of that via Zoom. But overall, it was a nice day. It worked out well. It was a great event. Thank you. And thanks to Jennifer and Jen Castellano and Jane for joining.
Dan, are you there?
Oh, and let me add, the most important thing is the wreath laying. Let me just add to that. So Emma Gomes from PAC 154 in Goldens Bridge was the scout, together with her mom, Doris Peters, who placed the wreath on the monument. So I'd like to thank them, and also Tom Gossett for playing taps. So I think I got all the names now. So we're good. It was a great ceremony. Thank you.
So we're already on the at the end of the meeting now, or did you move this up to the front end?
No, we're at the end of the public session.
Oh my God. Okay, this is like the fastest session. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I got waylaid in Greenberg.
Hey,
virtually.
I know the guy who delayed you, and I'm amazed you made it so quickly. I would have bet on 9:30 or 10 o'clock before you go.
I'm here, but very, very sorry again for being late. So if you've gone through all the meeting content, did we authorize you to sign the solar contract?
Yes.
Great. Great. So
also the MS4 reports.
Right.
Also the LVAC radio agreement, and to set a public hearing for the outdoor dining legislation.
Oh, great. Okay.
And finally, although it's not on the agenda, it was agreed that I could move forward for the engineering studies necessary to install either sewage or community septic at Lake Walkabuck South Shore, possibly even the North Shore right next to it.
Okay.
And Lake Truesdale and Lake Kitchewan.
Oh, really? I didn't know those were all on the table as well.
Yeah, well, when they finally got around to doing this, they did a lot more than they were asked to do.
Okay.
or by me anyway.
Okay. Very
Dan, do
interesting.
you want to add anything under polling of the board?
No, that's fine.
I would like to add a couple of things. First of all, I would like to say there was a very touching ceremony at Lake Kitchewan for the Memorial Day yesterday. And I'd like to thank Guy Hodges for arranging that. And I'd like to thank Tom Gossett for playing taps. And in particular, I'd like to stress that his playing was perfectimo at the Lake Kitchewan, and he was somewhat unhappy about his playing at the townhouse.
I thought he did great.
Well, all right, he didn't. So he really wanted me to mention that he got it right when he was down at Lake Kitchewan. I don't know if I said this, but I'd also like to thank Guy Hodges for setting that up at the War Memorial at the beach at Lake Kitchewan. I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session in order to discuss personnel matters. And sorry, before I do that, I'd like, Jane, what did you want me to do to talk about the movie night? What did you want me to do, Jane?
Yes, I wanted you to give the details of the movie night.
Okay. Park and Rec is planning a drive-in movie night. The movie would be Playing with Fire, starring John Cena. It's a PG movie. Sorry, I'd kind of insisted on that because it strikes me it should be a family event. They're planning to do this on Saturday, June the 13th. The parking will open at 7:30 and the movie will run from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. We hope to sell concessions at a reasonable cost to make the town a little money, but not overcharge the residents. We plan to make fresh popcorn, sell bottled water, soft drinks, movie candy, and possibly ice. I encouraged ice cream, which was not on Dana's original proposal. I think that's an excellent idea. I think there is a certain depressing effect of what we're going through, where the only news seems to be about COVID-19, and we are confined in relatively small spaces. And I would very much like to offer people some reward for paying taxes to Park and Rec, and this would strike me as some reward. We believe that if with luck, we'll end up quits on this, particularly if you agree to something in executive session. I will then, yes?
Maybe you want to thank our contact tracers?
Oh, all right. Yes, but you'd better do it.
You want me to do it? So from what I know, on Friday, the county called in somewhat of a panic and needed 5 contact tracers within the town of Lewisboro who could do the training and be available for testing, perhaps, within 5 days. And so Peter quickly called upon Dana Makelum, Laura Stone, and Reed Pullum of Parks and Rec. And he also called upon Peter, help me out.
Well, having volunteered, which is a military term, those 3 people at Park and Rec. I then volunteered Mary,
Right.
and I volunteered Kirsten Conrad.
That's
And
right.
because I felt a bit guilty about the way I'd gone about this, I volunteered another guy, myself. And we all, I gather, qualified, having listened to a 5-hour class and doing a 3/4 of an hour exam. Yeah, I would like to thank them, and I would hope the county would thank them, because they were kind of desperate for this. And I thought we did pretty well at the last moment. You know, when we're closed on a Friday afternoon, to get 5 people to quote volunteer was pretty good.
Amazing.
That said, I would like to go on to, I've got to point out one thing. I did pass. I didn't just take the exam, I passed the exam.
So does this mean, Peter, that you're going to be making phone calls? Is that, I think that's what they give you a list of names to call?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I made it clear at the time that I was giving that on this notice, where we had to have everything in, I think by today, sometime this morning, completed. The only people I could get hold of were hard workers, and they should quite honestly be very pleased that we had qualified. And that did not mean that any of us could actually do the job, had the time to do the job. Of course, once I've thrown all that into the lap of the county, heaven knows what will happen.
Okay.
But the idea was just, sorry, in case people don't know, on Friday it became apparent that we had satisfied every criteria for phase 1 opening, except for contact tracing. And that was the reason.
We as a county?
What?
We as a county. You're talking about the county.
I'm not sure if it was the county or the entire.
The region, the entire
It
region.
was the region.
It's the region, that's right.
Region?
It's,
Okay.
It was region by region. So each county in the
Correct.
region had to meet the metric.
right.
And, you know, that's pretty important to us as a town, that we do meet that metric
Sure.
and go on. And that's why I thought it was important enough to volunteer people.
Is there a rationale to try and recruit a few more, so it's not just you guys?
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, we don't have to stop there, right? We have a
One of the
little bigger pool.
reasons that I was initially reluctant to bring this up was that yes, it is very possible they will try to get more of us, but quite honestly, initially, they called for people to volunteer to do this who were not town employees necessarily, but who would be paid. They then changed their mind to county and town and municipal employees who would not be paid for doing this. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they have to go back to their first proposal. And I know at least one person in town who is not a town employee who passed this exam.
Okay, so no emergency anyway.
And my hope is that they just go ahead. All right, let's go back to, I'd like to an executive session where we will interview a potential police officer discuss the police chief's report regarding a road in town. And Mary, are you on or not? No. On the agenda, it says the New Dawn lease. I don't have the New Dawn lease, so I'm not going to put it out for approval. Next,
I assume we got
Are we
an
in
email
executive
with us.
session?
what?
Are we in executive session?
I'm
No.
just proposing
Now.
we move into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there a separate Zoom link for that?
There
There
is,
is.
yes.
I was
Yeah.
looking
Yes,
for
I
the email.
sent it in an email.
Yeah, look for an email
Alright.
from Janet.
Yep.
Dan, I can send it to you if you don't have it.
That would be great.
No problem.
Thanks.
Did anyone second his motion to go into executive session yet? I know he mentioned it a couple times.
Peter, are we ready to?
Second.
Yes,
Did he actually? Okay,
Yeah.
he did
I've
motion.
been
Okay, I
trying to
wasn't
get
sure.
there for some time with
Can
I
you
know, well,
mention
you-
the meeting?
with
Can you
total-
mention the next meeting is June 8th?
Okay.
Peter, you have to mention the next meeting.
Oh, I never like to mention the next meeting with luck. The next town board meeting will be on Monday, June 8, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via remote access. Janet,
Yes?
I would much appreciate it if you could send me the Zoom information for the executive session. Do you have it?
I sent it to
I
you.
just
I
sent
can-
it.
I can
Yeah,
send.
I'll send it to you. I got it, Janet. No worries.
Okay. Yeah, I sent it at about 4:30.
Okay.
Wait, I see the agenda in what you
Just-
forwarded me, Jane, but I don't see the link for the Zoom session. Am I missing something
If you scroll down
in the
in the email. And also, I think it was in the, in the email, definitely it is the link. Yeah, in the email.
I'm sorry, but I'm not seeing it in that email. I'm seeing a attachment with the agenda and it's not in the agenda.
I just sent it to you as well, Dan. It might be
Great.
further below Janet's email. I think it's actually under,
Correct. It originally came from Joel because he sets
Yep.
them up.
Ah,
Sure.
it's under Joel's in the second. You'll see it when you,
There it is.
Okay.
Got it. All right, now we can
sign
conclude
off and
this.
move over there.
Yeah, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
We'll,
All right. Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
we'll see you
Good
over there.
night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Correct.